a bizarre World Series so far. We're only through 4 games. Billy Ripken on loan for the Major League Baseball Network, stopping by our New York City man cave. Find MLBnetwork.com. MLB Tonight, which airs before and after every World Series game. Coverage has been great on the Major League Baseball Network. First of all, welcome. Second of all, we were talking before we came on. You never rip your brother. You never say something bad about Cal, like having fun publicly, right? Ever.
Well, having fun is different than ripping somebody. I mean, I've made a career out of playing the victim. Growing up 4.5 years behind a Hall of Famer and someone that was always good. You know, when we played sports in the backyard, he was always the best one out there. So I kind of knew what I was getting into as these years progress. So every now and then I'll take my shots, but it's always about playing the victim and, you know, kind of referring to him as the golden boy.
But did you, secretly root for him to get a D or an F in school? Or
No.
You didn't? Just to make yourself look a little better?
No, but see, that's one of the valuable lessons Dad gave me a long, long time ago was take care of yourself. If you succeed because of somebody else's failure, you're not really succeeding. So don't worry about what anybody else does. Do what you can do. And in most cases, it's going to be good enough.
So Cal was the golden boy.
Yeah.
And what were you?
The problem child. Maybe something like that.
I loved your dad, by the way.
Yeah.
I got a chance to go to a few Orioles spring trainings. And, I mean, your dad was, if you're going to have central casting for a baseball guy, your dad was that guy.
Yeah, there was a lot of people that have met him over the years that said, you know, he sweared me when I first met him.
Yeah, he was gruff.
There's no doubt about it. There was this external roughness, weathered when you talk about a baseball guy, but no nonsense. And me and Junior, we referred to him as the baseball encyclopedia. There are people out there in the game that know about certain specifics. There's a pitching coach that knows more pitching than what Dad knew. There's hitting coaches that know more hitting than what Dad did. But there's not one person I've come across in the game yet that could help everybody on the baseball field. So when you're thinking about the Orioles in their glory days, he could help a switch-hitting Hall of Fame first baseman. He could help a Hall of Fame right-hand starting pitcher. He could help a World Series MVP catcher. He could do everything on a baseball field to get the best out of those individual players better than anybody else we've ever come across.
And what I liked before we moved to the World Series is your dad didn't change. Like your dad wasn't, he was himself. He didn't say, I'm going to be a nicer guy. Or I mean, he was just, he was who he was. He didn't change, and I always respected him for that. All right, let me go back to Game 3.
Yeah.
The call to end it. As an infielder here, you have the obstruction call, but explain to me where Craig is on the base paths,
right,
where Middlebrooks is. Whose land is that? Is that neutral territory there?
It's kind of no man's land. But you said as a former infielder, and I would ask you a question on the Boston Red Sox, of the infielders that were out there, who's probably the most intelligent of that group?
Pedroia?
Right. After Pedroia made the play, and after the madness pursued, and it went on, Pedroia comes in, he wants to argue, and as soon as he heard obstruction, he walked off the field. Now, he was in disgust, but he understood what had happened. And I've been listening to you talk about this. There wasn't intent, but by the letter of the law, Jim Joyce made the right call in that situation. It's a damn shame. Now, moving forward, I would love to be able to have this rule tweaked, and let's move in a different direction. Don't overturn that. It is what it is. But I think that area right there was a little bit of no man's land. It was an unfortunate thing. It happened. Jim Joyce made the call right away.
But how do you tweak it?
That I do not know. I'm an idea guy. I'm not the problem solver. I throw some stuff out there and say, okay, you got to figure it out. But what Major League Baseball has, look, you have Torrey and La Russa up there in the mix.
Yeah.
Let's put our heads together and figure that out, because Middlebrooks was inside the baseline.
Yes.
And when Craig slid into third with absolutely zero momentum, because he's playing on one leg, and then when he tried to find the ball, he almost took a step or two back towards second base, and then beeline straight towards home. So he created this angle, but by the letter of the law in the rule book, there was obstruction, because after the ball went by, he's no longer a fielder. Now, if he'd have gotten up, it would have been worse. So I don't know how to fix that one right there. but I don't want to see that play ever get called again and cost a game.
Okay, that's where I wanted to know, can you factor in intent if you're an umpire? Can you say, Middlebrooks did not try to trip him?
Right.
So therefore, if we were going to tweak it, can you factor in intent to maybe decide when you use it and when you don't?
I think you can, because the way it's written right now, you're taking out all the judgment out of things, right?
Yeah.
It's by law. But isn't ball and strike judgment? Isn't bang, bang play at first base judgment? So if you're putting these guys in place to make this thing, and I heard you earlier, I applaud the umpires right now in these 4 games. It's been sloppily played. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. But going back to game 1 when they all got back together, my only argument about that, why don't they do that during the regular season?
I agree. But it's ego, though, Billy. You know those umpires. They don't want to. I made the call, and that's it. But now you get together and you say, all right, what'd you guys think? Yeah, you missed the call.
Well, we all have somewhat of an ego. But here's the other thing. If I'm on a crew, I'm going to get mad at the other umpires for not coming to my rescue. You know, I go back to the one, where was it? Helton at first base, the Dodgers-Rockies, where Helton was 3 feet off first base.
Was that 07, I think?
It was a while ago, but it was so blatant that the guy in the upper deck sitting in the last row saw it. Mattingly runs out there. If I'm the home plate umpire and Mattingly's running out past me, I'm going to stop him and say, hold on 1 minute, Don. Let me run out there and say, look, dude, you were blocked off. That was bad. We've got to fix that. And it's gone. I'm not talking about it today. So I don't understand why you can do it in the World Series and you can't do it during the regular season. If they were doing that during the regular season, we wouldn't be talking about this much instant replay.
He's Billy Ripken, Major League Baseball Network analyst, joining us here in the New York City Man Cave. As far as last night goes, and I brought this up to Peter King. It was a week ago today, and I said, if I'm looking at Brady and Big Papi in the postseason, who's been a more clutch, better postseason performer? And you know what? Peter is a Red Sox fan. He said, gosh, I don't know. I mean, when you think about it, Big Papi's done some pretty incredible things. He's batting 700, I think, Billy.
I think a little bit higher now because he got another knock after that. Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing with that, because Brady, I like watching football. I like watching him postseason. He relies on other people a little bit more. Papi stands up at home plate. He's all solo mente. And right now he is locked in, and I don't blame the Cardinals one bit for pitching him around him in almost every situation that comes up. Now, it hurt him last night, the 3-run homer, but I'm not giving Papi a chance to beat me because right now he is the best offensive player on the field.
What did you see last night? If you're trying to handicap this, now we're tied at 2 games apiece. So momentum, we go right into tonight's game, which is always interesting. So there's no day off, no travel day, no nothing. It's tonight. So handicap tonight. Well,
when I looked at this series going in, I think, and a lot of people looked at this as possibly a 7-game series. You got the identical records, the best team out of the American League facing the best team in the National League. I wouldn't think that anybody would have come up with the 2-2 and how it's happened. But the fact remains it's 2-2. I look at Wainwright on the mound. You look at Lester in the mound again. It's the rematch of Game 1. It's not going to go the exact same way that Game 1 did. The Cardinals got out of the gate. They looked really sluggish. I can't imagine that happening again. So if you're looking at momentum in the baseball world, who's your starting pitchers? Both teams have good guys going out there. And the way this series has gone so far, who's not going to make a mistake? Because that's what's happened. When teams make mistakes, the other teams capitalize, and that team wins. So let's see who plays clean baseball, because I can't really give an edge on the pitching matchup right now.
You got a problem with Lester digging into his glove if he's got rosin in the glove, if that's what it is?
I don't know what that was. It was kind of funny because when you see something like that, I didn't notice anything on the baseball making it look like it was doing something different.
But
like
you would know right. Would you know right away if somebody was loading up?
The action of the baseball tells you. Now, I have no problem, and I know it's in the rules if there's extra grip. Look, if a guy's throwing 98 miles an hour, and Lester's not that guy, I want the guy to have some sort of grip and control. I don't want that ball slipping out of his hand and going up around your melon. But when you're looking at that and you heard the defense, it was green. There's no question about it. And they're not, to my knowledge, any mixture of sweat and rosin. Because the last I checked, every team still uses a white rosin bag. Yeah. It's not green. And unless something's coming out of your body that's green, and then something's wrong. that's going to create something like that. So if it's a little bit of a sticky substance, I would suspect that we don't see anything in the glove tonight, though.
He said that he's going back to what he did game one. He's not changing.
Well, then I guarantee there's some camera angles that are going to be looking, and Mike Matheny will be sending the umpire out there to the mound if they see anything in that glove.
But how much is gamesmanship? If you're, and you're an old school, your dad, your brother, like, is there part of you that says if you can get away with stuff on the mound, are you fine with that?
Well, there's a fine line now, because if we're in this PED world that we're in,
yes,
some people would say if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yes.
Well, that takes a whole nother level into something else. But like I said, if it was,
let's take the PEDs out of it.
Right.
Let's say substance, pine tar, scuff a little bit, try to get away with something. Are you okay with that?
No.
Okay.
I understand that people do it, but like I said earlier, the scuffing is a different thing than a little pine tar for grip. Because grip is only allowing the guy's natural ability to come through because he's throwing his breaking ball. If it's slipping out of his hand because the ball is slick, it's cold, get a little grip on it, that's okay. When you scuff it, you're altering the baseball and you're making the baseball do something that you couldn't make it do naturally. And I think that's a problem.
But could you imagine giving Maddox a little more grip for him to be able to throw?
Whatever.
You don't have any problem with that?
No. No, I mean, grip is okay.
Yeah.
Grip doesn't change the dynamic of the baseball. When you start changing the sphere itself, and when you scuff it, it does things that you can't make it do. That's a problem. That's, by me, the definition of cheating. Because the rosin bag supplies grip. So you're giving them something out there on the mound that allows them to do it. You're allowing them to go to their mouth now on the mound. So the grip part of it, that's what it does. Moisture, rosin, grip. So if it's a substance that is allowing a baseball player to add a little bit extra grip on the baseball, I'm okay.
So what happens tonight?
That's a good question. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say something bizarre is going to happen.
I said it's going to be a balk-off.
That would be terrible. I mean, I don't want to see that. When we're sitting there, last night I was sitting on the desk, and we got to come on before we throw it to the crew out in St. Louis, and nobody really caught it when it first happened. And we're talking, and right when it happened, we're all looking. That was a replay, wasn't it? It's over. Bizarre as bizarre got. If anything happened in Game 3, the way you ended that game, because that's the first time in history that it's ended like that.
Pickoff.
And then on the pickoff last night. So we're 2 for 2 in the last 2 days. Let's hope we have a well-played game. It's decided, who pitches it the best, who hits it the best, who catches it the best, because lately we haven't seen that.
Got any more baseball cards left?
Yeah, I have a few of those.
You do?
Probably.
I'd like to have one for the man cave.
Would you?
Yeah, can I?
Yeah, it's 20 years ago.
But it's a great story.
It's 20 years ago Cal played that prank on me. No, I'm just kidding. Come on now. You know what? When that first
quick summary, Billy. Just give a quick summary here.
The quick summary? Geez, can I get any more on the record than this? It was a heavy R161 bat.
Yeah.
And I wrote it on there. I don't know why I chose that phrase.
You put F?
Face. On it.
Yeah. And
it was designated as my batting practice bat. So when you're looking in the grocery carts full of bats, all the knobs sticking out, and if I'm hitting in a group 445 and my dad is throwing the group, right? And it's 444 and I'm still sitting in my chair in the locker room, I know I've got a minute to get out there. I don't want to spend any time looking for this bat. So I could find it easy. It stuck out like a sore thumb, and I could make my group on time. That picture was taken in Boston. I take my first round of BP. I throw my bat to the third base side because we're on the third base side. I run around the bases. I pick my bat up waiting for round 2, tap on the shoulder. Can I take your picture? I go, sure. Boom, take it. And then I hear about it in January, because that's when the cards came out. So I get a phone call from Rick Vaughn, who's now the Tampa Bay Rays PR guy, and he says, we got a problem. And I said, what? And he told me, and I go, oh, man. And I didn't really get all total recall until I saw the picture. And then it all came flooding back to me. But I was not being a bad person. I wasn't doing it to put it on a card. I did it for locker room humor. I wrote it on there just so I would know it was my BP bat. And then soon enough, you get caught.
What did Cal say?
Senior or junior?
Oh, boy. I'm going to go Senior.
Senior wasn't real happy. Senior defended his son and swears that the card company saw it, enhanced it, and produced it for their own gratification.
Wow.
And I agreed with him. I said, "You're right."
Yeah, Dad.
Junior just laughed.
Golden Boy he was fine.
It was funny.
Yeah, it was. It was very funny.
I mean, I apologize if I offended anybody. It was meant for the locker room only, and it just happened to slip out.
I'd still like to have one for the man cave.
All right, we'll bring one in.
All right.
I can find him.
All right. Thank you, F-Face. Thank you, Billy. Thank you for joining us.
That ain't right,
Hey,
dude.
great to see you, and great coverage by the Major League
Thank you.
Baseball Network. You guys done a great job there. It's 20 before the hour. We'll get some more phone calls coming up. By the way, you can go to findmlbnetwork.com. Great coverage before and after every World Series game. He's Billy Ripken joining us in studio. Your phone calls coming up next, Dan Patrick Show.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.